started. We're going to get started in the fact that it's an interesting thing that the Jewish people are called the people of the book. If you look right behind me, you'll see there's lots of books in my office. And that's because a rabbi has to have lots of books. Everyone has to have lots of books. Because Jews are very, very intricately connected to their books. In fact, in Chabad today, it's called the Festival of the Books. Hey Tavis is a whole long story about books that were taken away from the Rebbe and then were miraculously brought back, a whole court case, and finally was restored back to the Agudas Chassidic Chabad back in the New York Library. So today is like the holiday of the books. So I'm going to speak about books today, and especially because, like I said, the Jewish people, we're called the people of the book. Why are we called the people of the book? What is the reason why we're known as the people of the book? So there's three reasons. One reason why we're called the people of the book is because we are intricately connected to the book called the Torah, which is a book of ethics and morals. So when you look at the Jewish people, we are the people that reflect those values and that morality. As with Jewish people, we're taught we have to be a light unto the nation. So what does it mean we're a people of the book? That means we are people that live by our book. So the book is not a separate thing from us. It's not just something we have in our shelves, but we incorporate the book in our lives. So if you want to see what the Torah is about, all you need to do is look at the Jewish people. And I mean, there are obviously always going to be a few bad apples that don't stick to the book, but it doesn't take away from the fact that we are the people of the book. People when we were very, very young already, our parents are teaching us the values of the Torah. Our parents teach us what it means to be Jewish and what it means to be a mensch, as the book shows us. So, when the world was created, it says that Hashem created the world. And the first letter of the Torah is the letter Bet. We all know in the creation, what's the first letter of the Torah? Bet, Bereshit. Bereshit, in the beginning. So why does it start with the letter Bet? It should start maybe with the Aleph, with the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Like the Ten Commandments, which starts with the letter Aleph. Why does the Torah start with Bet, with the second letter of the Torah, of the Hebrew alphabet? And the answer is, Rashi says, on the spot, he says, the word Bereshit is actually a hint to Beis Reshit. That when God created the world, he created it for two things. One was especially he created it with the Jewish people in mind, that they should be his people and a light unto the nations. And the second thing that he had in mind was the Torah, the book, our Constitution. So when he created the heavens and earth, he had in mind a purpose. What was his purpose? His purpose was that the Jewish people should study the Torah and become the people of the book. So right at the very beginning of creation, in the first letter of the Torah, you have the Bet, which is Beis Reshis, the two things which are called the beginning. The Jewish people are called the beginning. As we know, we are called Reshis. We are many times referred to in the Torah as the beginning of everything. And the Torah is also referred to as Reshis, as the first. So, two firsts. And that's the Jewish people of the Torah. But the point I'm trying to make is that the Jewish people, right at the very beginning, Hashem intricately connected our destiny, our being, our essence, is that he wanted us to be the people that reflect the book. Like many times, we have when a tzaddik passes away, a righteous person passes away, it's like a Torah scroll was lost. And when you bury a righteous person, it's like a Torah scroll is buried. Why? A tzaddik, we are a righteous person, we call him like a living Torah, a living Sefer Torah. Why is he called a living Sefer Torah? Is because a tzaddik, a righteous person, lives by the Torah. And so when a tzaddik passes away, it's like a Torah is being buried. So he's like a living Sefer Torah. He's like a Torah scroll because every nuance, every part of his being is tied in with Torah. He's like a living, walking Sefer Torah. I always look at the Sefer Torah, the Torah scroll in the shul when they take it out. That's like the story of our lives. Every Shabbos in shul, you go to shul, they take out the Torah. You go on a Yom Kippur, on a Shanim Kippur, on any Pesach, always take out the Torah. Rosh Chodesh we take out. Even today, Monday and Thursday, we always take out a Torah in shul. So I always look at, I visualize, when I see a Torah, I don't just see a piece of parchment, a long piece of parchment with a lot of ink on it, a lot of writing. No, I look at the Torah, I always see like a human being. When they take out the Torah, I always see them taking out of the ark like a person, almost. It's customary actually that somebody's about to have a baby, they're supposed to do psicha. The custom is that they go to open the ark. Why? Because taking out the Torah from the ark is like the baby coming out of the womb. Right? So you have big Torahs, you have little Torahs, right? Big babies, little babies. So you take them out of the ark, and then you look at the Torah looks like a person. You have the body, and then you have the two handles on the top, that's the two hands, and the two handles on the bottom, that's the feet. To be a little bit imaginative, imagination, to see it that way. But that's what it is. So the Torah is like a human being almost. So the Torah and the person are like one being. And the Jewish people were a reflection of the Torah. So the way I look at it, like I said, when you take the Torah out of the Torah scroll, they sing Vayibn Soar Haron, Vayom Moshe, and we take the Torah out. To me, that's like childbirth. It's symbolic of a baby being born and taken out of the womb. And then you take the Torah to the Bima, and then you read the Parsha. On Shabbos, how many aliyahs do we have? We have 7 aliyahs. So the years of a person's life is like 70 years. So every decade is like another aliyah. So when you read the Torah, it's like going through a lifetime, symbolically. And every aliyah is like another segment of the person's life, a decade in the person's life. King David says that the days of a person's life are 70 years. And if you're lucky, it's 80. So maybe the maftir is the 80 years. And the haftarah maybe is the 90 years. And the tying of the Torah, preparing the Torah, whatever, that could be the 100 years. But regardless, the main bulk of the Torah reading is 7 aliyahs on Shabbos. So that's like the 70 years of a person's lifetime. So the Torah and the Jewish people are one. So then the Torah is brought back into the ark. To me, that's like at the end when the soul comes back to Hashem, you bring it back where it came from. So you put it back into the Aron Kodesh, and you close the curtain. It's like closing the curtain on life. So it's like returning the body back to Hashem. The physical goes is buried, the soul goes returned to Hashem until the next Shabbos. Then the Torah comes out again for the next Aliyah. So to me, the whole concept of a Torah. But first point that I want to make about the connection, why we're called the people of the book. I said today is the festival of the books. Why are we called the people of the book? Because we hopefully live by the book, and the book becomes a reflection of us, and we are a reflection of what's in the book. We know that the Torah has 613 mitzvot, of which there are 248 positive commandments and 365 negative. And we know that the human being is also made up of 613 parts. There are 248 limbs in a person, which correspond to the 248 positive commandments, and the 365 blood vessels in the person, which correspond to the 365 negative commandments. So together, the positive and the negative commandments in the Torah correspond to all the limbs and the vessels of the human being, the person in totality. So here again, the idea is that every mitzvah we do strengthens another part of the body. So we as Jews, we are called the people of the book because we reflect the book. That's the first reason I'm going to share with you as to why we're called the people of the book. And this goes back to the Kabbalah of creation, because remember, the Torah and the Jewish people were all created right at the very beginning. By the way, in Kabbalah, it says, and many other places it says, that the Torah was actually created before the world was created. Because the Torah is the wisdom of God. So the wisdom of God comes even before the world was created. The Torah, we are taught, is the blueprints for the world. And always when you're a good architect, a builder, always make sure that they work hard on the blueprints before they even start to make the building. So the Torah came before the world, and the same thing is, so that's what the Medrash says, the Gemara says, Alpayim Shana Kodma Torah Leilam. The Torah came 2,000 years before the world was created. How is it possible to be 2,000 years before the world was created, if time was created? That's another conversation. That's a tough question. But it does say that the Torah came 2,000 years before the world was created. Yes? Someone wants to add something to what I just said? Or I guess. Okay. Some stuff in the background. The Jewish people also, it says that we also preceded the world. As the language in the Medrash says, Ola b'machshava tchila. We went up in his thoughts before the world was created. So we and the Torah preceded the world, and that's why when it says Bereshit, in the beginning God created, right away he alludes to the two things that already pre-existed before the world was created, which that is Torah and the Jewish people. You got it? Okay, we're good. So the first reason why we're called the people of the book is because we and the book, we live by the book, we breathe by the book, we follow our lives based on the book. So people look at a Jew and they say, this is a walking Sefer Torah. You want to know how to be ethical, how to be moral? Give a look at the Jewish people. Check out the Jewish people. That's how we know. Okay. Can you hear me over there? Rabbi say. Just want to make sure you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Thumbs up. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, good. So that is the first reason. Now we're on to the second reason. The second reason of why we're called the people of the book is because the destiny of Torah historically was tied with the destiny of the Jewish people. When the Jewish people were persecuted against, what's the first thing they did? Was they burnt our Torahs. When they wanted to get at the Jewish people at Kristallnacht, what did they do the first thing? They broke our synagogues and burnt our Torahs. So the destiny, our destiny, and the destiny of the book, that's why we call the people of the book, because the world sees this book as being like the part and parcel of the Jewish people. It's our history is intertwined. You can't separate the Jews from the Torah. There's a story with the 10 martyrs, Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa, Rabbi Chanina ben Tradian, who was one of the 10 martyrs who we read about on Yom Kippur, that the Romans, when they wanted to really get the Jews after by the rebellion of Bar Kokhba, after the destruction of the Second Temple, so the Romans wanted to make an example of the Jews, so they gathered 10 of the greatest rabbis, and they put them, and they murdered them cold-bloodedly with great suffering. So one of the rabbis was Rabbi Hanania ben Tradian. He was a great Torah scholar, and he was a great teacher of the Jewish people. And he studied Torah and taught the Jewish people even after the Romans said to stop. He wouldn't give in, wouldn't give up. So what did the Romans do? The ruthless Romans at the time, they were barbaric, and they brought the rabbi out and they started a big fire in the town square to show the Jews what's happening. To show the Jews, they wanted to make an example out of him. So they started a big fire in the town square, and they brought Rabbi Hanania ben Tradian out to the town square. He was one of the greatest rabbis, as I said, and they wrapped him up in a Torah scroll. They took a Torah and they wrapped him up in the Torah scroll. And then they put on his body, they put like tufts of wool with water, so he shouldn't burn quickly. They put these pieces of wool, tufts, and they put it on his body, wet tufts, so that the fire shouldn't burn him so fast. So he should be set an example for those that rebel against the Romans. It was very, very tragic. And the students came over to him and they asked him, can they take off the tufts so he should burn faster? He said, no, let Hashem, whatever Hashem wants to do. I'm sorry, they said, Rabbi, why don't you open your mouth so that the fumes of the flames will go into your mouth and your nostril, and you'll die faster. He says, I can't intervene. A person is not allowed to die any faster than what Hashem wants him to die. But then he was burning, and the executioner, who was most probably a Roman, he said, Rabbi, can I remove the tufts so that you shouldn't have to suffer so much? So for that, the rabbi agreed. And then he was wrapped in a Torah scroll. Could you imagine the horror of that? But the Romans understood that the destiny of the Jewish people is intertwined with the destiny of the Torah. Like the Nazis did at Kristallnacht, and like the Romans did in their times. And we know for a fact that every shul during the Holocaust, the first place they went was to destroy the shuls and the Torahs. In the times of the French anti-Semites, there was a time that they made a ban on all the Jewish books, and they made a public burning of the Talmud. Again, Jewish books. They would burn the books of the Talmud. There are special prayers that we say on Tisha B'Av to remember that incident. I don't know, it was in the 12th or 13th century, where they burnt the Talmud publicly in the front of the square in Paris. It's a very, very famous story of what happened there. One of the piyutim that we read on Tisha B'Av is about that story. So here we go again. The destiny of the Jewish people were tied with the Torah. That's why we're called the people of the book. Remember, many years ago, we had a Torah dedication in our shul. It was an older lady, her husband, who came to visit in our shul. There's a fellow in our shul that davened by us sometimes, lived not too far from here. His name was Mr. Joshua Shigris, remember his name. Never lost a child. And his aunt was here. Her name was Ifat Dimon. And they looked at when we took out the Torah, they saw there weren't many Torahs in the ark. So after Shabbos, they came over to us and they asked whether we could use another Torah. And she said that for her husband especially, it's very important to donate Torahs, because during World War II, he ran through Russia with a Torah scroll to save a Torah scroll. And the whole war, he had a small Torah scroll that he saved and brought it to freedom. And so to him, a Torah is very, very precious. Like while the bombs were falling and the Nazis were fighting and all that, he ran with his Sefer Torah and he wouldn't let go of it. Imagine that image. So when she saw that our shul didn't have Torahs, so the family decided to bring a Sefer Torah to our shul. And I remember clearly the opening, the dedication of the Torah, and how Mr. Dimon, the old man, who had saved the Torah from Nazi Europe, and he was on a wheelchair, and he was holding the Sefer Torah, and he was crying, remembering how he saved the Torah during the war. Something very, very special. And I saw there and then how the history of the Jewish people, how the destiny of the Jewish people and the destiny of the Torah are one. He saved the Torah from the Nazis, and then he gave a Torah to a shul and rededicated the Torah. I mean, that's mamash. People of the book. Holding on to that. I remember clenching that Torah in the wheelchair. It's like an image that's seared in my mind. Never forget it. Very special. And that's the second reason why we're called the people of the book. And I said today is the festival of the book. So Rabbi said that today on Hey Teves, it's a big thing to go and buy books. So after we're going to finish this class, you're going to make sure to go online and buy a book, or go to a bookstore and buy some books. Today is a good day. Every day is a good day to buy some Jewish books, but especially today. The third reason why we're called the people of the book, so I gave you so far two reasons. I'm telling you a third reason. Third reason why we're called the people of the book, and that is a very interesting reason, is that, what is the Torah? The Torah is the constitution of the Jewish people. It's our bylaws, so to speak, right? It's our constitution. It tells us about what a Jew has to, how a Jew has to live, etc., etc. Most nations have bylaws as well. The Jewish people are not the only people to have the bylaws. Most lands and most countries, you have a constitution. And you have then a constitution, you have amendments, you have all kinds of things in the constitution. Bill of Rights and all kinds of things that every people have, that the laws of the country, and you have to abide by the laws of the country. Canada has laws, America has laws. There's laws everywhere in every country. But what's the difference between the Jewish people and all the other constitutions? It's very different. Because the Jews, the book came first, and then came the people. We only moved to Israel 40 years after we already received the Torah at Mount Sinai. We received the Torah at Mount Sinai, our constitution. We have a bunch of slaves just came out of Egypt. God said, here's your constitution. The constitution was not based on our needs. The constitution was based on what God wanted us to be. And then the book molded us for 40 years. And only after we became a people did we become a nationality, a country. We moved to Israel only 40 years after we received the Torah. So our constitution works very differently. Most lands, they have laws that the laws were molded based on the interests or the needs of the people. In Jewish life, it was quite the opposite. There was godly needs. There was Hashem's Torah. There was the way he wanted us to live. And we molded ourselves into that book. And then we became a nation. See, follow, it's a big difference. In other nations, the constitution comes after the nation. You have a Greek nation, and then they make a constitution. You have Americans, they make Canadians will live here for a while, and then we say, what are the laws we need to run this country? Jewish people, very different. The book came first, and then we became a people. So we are the people of the book. We are the only people that what we are is the book. We are a people that conformed to the book, not a book that conformed to the people. You understand? There's a big difference. And that's why we find that all the other books have amendments, because there's different needs. As years move on, you have different needs. So you put amendments in the Constitution, changes. And by the Jewish people, no, it's you have things are changing. How can you conform to the Torah? How can you continue to follow the Torah in this modern day? But not by changing the Torah, but by finding a way to live by the Torah. It's a whole different mindset. And so that's why we're called the people of the book, because we're not the people that were created. We're not the book, a book that's made by people, but we're a people that's made by the book. So that we're the people of the book for a very good reason. Because we can't live without that book. That book is what makes us. So I'll tell you, like a difference between, let's say, an automobile and an airplane. They both use gasoline. But the automobile, if you run out of gas, you just stop and you have to find more gasoline. But you can exist without the gasoline. Right? To us, the Torah, we're airplanes. God wanted us to fly, not just to drive. Hashem gave us a way to fly, not to drive. And gasoline in an airplane is different. If you run out of gas and when you're up in the plane, that's the end. You have to say Kaddish, Yiskadal v'Yiskadash, right? If you're up on top of the plane and you run out of gas, there's no road to catch you. You're finished. The same way is to us, the Torah is not just an additive, something that helps us get around. No, the Torah is our existence. And we conform to the Torah, we mold to the Torah. That's who we are. We are the people of the book. Without the book, there's no people, there's no Jewish people. So you're going to tell me, hold on 1 second, Rabbi. Hold on 1 second. We know a lot of Jews that don't keep the Torah. And they're still existing. So what are you telling us, the people of the book? We know lots of people that don't even have the book in their house. They don't even have the book, right? They never read the Torah. But they're mistaking. They're mistaking. The Jewish people for thousands of years, whatever they are today, is based on the book. All the great Jews who were maybe very secular, but it was seeds that were planted for thousands of years in them that made them who they were. People who invented communism, socialism, all the isms, they had this idealism because this was planted in the hearts of the people to bring Mashiach, to make the world a better place, to correct the world, fix the world, find a way to make everybody have food. You know, it should be a world without suffering, without. They thought they were not influenced by Torah. But oh boy, are they influenced by Torah. No Jew can say that their lives were not influenced by that, by the values that were passed on by their parents and grandparents, thousands of years. It doesn't go away. That's who they are. A Jew is a Jew is a Jew, as they say, right? You can run, but you can't hide. You can't run away from your existence of who you are. That's who we are. We are the people of the book. So go out today and buy some books, some Torah books. I have always a problem when people come to me and say, Rabbi, we're moving house, we're moving homes, we're moving from a big house to a small house, we got to move a place, we're downsizing to a condominium. So what's the first thing that goes? Is the Zayda's books. They have some machzorim, they have some sidurim, they have some. I say, that should be the last thing you should get rid of. You should put the books in the house and get rid of the extra piece of furniture. Keep the books. No, Rabbi, we don't have much space. So what, the books are the first thing that goes? The holy books? That's the first thing you're getting rid of? Because you're downsizing? Think about that for a moment. The first thing, I have people coming every time. The people come to shul and they're trying to get rid of the books. They don't know how to do it, right? So they come to the shul, middle of the night, they drop it off in like right in front of the front door. So when I come in the morning, I'll see it like a little baby. You know, like years ago, they used to drop off babies in front of the place, synagogues. People couldn't, was of hunger years, so they couldn't take. So people drop off their books in the shul like it was some kind of, I don't know what, they're trying to get rid of it. So they come and they drop it off and run inside the shul. Today we have cameras, so we know exactly who's dropping off the books. Well, yeah, look, some books are old, they need to be buried. That's fine, I understand that. But every Jewish home has to have Jewish books in it. That creates character, that creates who you are. He said, this is who we are. We are the people of the book. We get rid of the books, we are no more people. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a happy Hey Tevis, good day, and Hashem should bless us all. We should study a lot of Torah and internalize the lessons of the books. And very, very shortly, we'll merit to a time when there will be peace in the whole world. Amen. I have a super duper day, everybody. Any questions, by the way? Anybody? Any questions? You can unmute. You're welcome. You're welcome. Always a pleasure.
Just wish that everybody should have a healthy and happy 2023.
What is that? Is that some kind of like Gentile New Year's?
Just we should be happy. Everybody should be happy.
I'm joking. You know, I heard once the Lubavitcher Rebbe say to someone, "Happy New Year's," and I heard other rabbis saying, "Happy New Year's." So we do recognize the New Year, even though it's not a Jewish thing particularly, but in the Jewish contracts we write the date of the year, and there's a pasuk also that says that God counts according to the dates of the world. So there is so that it does say that. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi. Every day
So,
should happen.
so based on that, a happy New Year. Okay. Thank you.
Every day should happen. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.